Ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome to another video.
Coming up, we give you tips for a smooth embarkation and how to make the most of your first day on board.
So, the day is upon you. Upon you? The day is upon you where you are ready to get on the ship. So you arrive at the port, and the first thing that's going to happen is that the stewards, once you arrive at port, are going to take away your bags. So make sure that they're all labelled ready with the cruise tag you would have been sent either via email, which you print off yourself, been given to or posted to you by your travel agent or the cruise line itself. So make sure it's all tagged up and ready to go, because your bags will be the first thing to be taken. It's a bit like checking in for a flight, but your bags are actually taken away from you before you even check in.
So our second tip before you arrive at the port is to have all your documents ready and filled out. So that means your check-in documents and any identification you need. So for example, your passport or government ID. Make sure you've got it on you and in a place where you can just grab it. So have it in a folder, in a side pouch or something, and make sure that it is in your hand luggage, because it cannot be in your checked luggage, because as we said, that gets whisked away before you've even checked in.
That would be really embarrassing.
Yeah.
To accidentally leave all of your documentation in your main luggage, and I'm sure it's happened before. I'm not quite sure what would happen. Maybe they would have to go and try and find your luggage so you could get it back, but it would be a big old mess.
Exactly. So just make sure you've got it ready to hand so that when you do check in, it's all there ready to go.
Yeah, don't do what we've done before, where it's right at the bottom of your bag somewhere random and you're like trying to find it, and it's like, oh my God, there's a big queue behind me, a huge line, and these people are like looking at me like, why aren't I ready? So
you've got nice millions of papers of like all your shore excursions and stuff like that. You just have your check-in stuff all ready together, and it makes for a much smoother embarkation.
Definitely, organisation is the key.
Also, pack light, because hand luggage, you have to carry it around with you. The lifts are going to be very busy on embarkation day, so you may want to take the stairs, and you don't want to be lugging your really heavy cases up the stairs, and also your cabins are not always ready straight away, so you do have to carry that around the ship with you as well.
Yeah, so bear in mind that you could be carrying this around with you for a few hours. So definitely light, but make sure you've got all your essentials in there, especially your medication and your documents, because they're the two things you'll need for that.
Most importantly. Now, depending on the cruise line, you may be given a set time to arrive at the port called the embarkation time, or it may just be an embarkation time for everybody.
Free for all.
Free for all. If you do have a set embarkation time, don't turn up early. There's absolutely no point. You will just be waiting around for ages.
And you'll clog everybody else up as well, so you're just messing everybody else up.
Exactly. So if you want to avoid the cruise,
the cruise, you don't want to avoid the cruise.
Do you want to avoid the cruise?
That's the last thing you want to do. That you do not want to avoid the cruise. We recommend that you get in the area early though, don't we? This is the thing. So when we're saying don't get to the check-in really, really early, if that's not your allotted time, make sure you're within the region early, because you don't want to miss your ship.
Yeah, you don't want to miss the ship, but then you don't want to be queuing outside the ship at 5 AM waiting for your check-in time when it's 3 PM. There's literally, most check-in areas are not that exciting, are they? They're just waiting rooms.
Well, they are quite exciting, because you can usually see your ship through the windows, and it's like, oh my God, we're going to get onto the ship.
Just let me on now.
Let me on right now.
And this is the other thing to think about as well, is that it may be a bit manic and you may have long waits before you actually get on the ship. So bring something to entertain you. If you've got kids, it's good maybe pack an iPad or a couple of games or something, just because while you're waiting in the check-in area, like I said, there's not that much to do. So if you are waiting a long time, bring something to keep yourself entertained.
Exactly. So when you check in and you're all checked in, you'll be handed a credit card sized card per person. This acts as your room key and as your credit card whilst on board. So when you're checking in, you would usually put a credit card on file, or maybe some cash if you didn't want to put a credit card on file. But yeah, so keep this with you at all times, because as I say, it would be your room key, and if you're buying any drinks or anything on board whatsoever, or even booking some shows, sometimes you've got to have your card with you as well. So once you're checking in as well and getting your card, you'll get your photo taken. This is just so security can actually see the person with the card is the person. So when you get on and off the ship at ports, they know who you are. So it's like an extra security thing, which is really good.
And just before you board, there'll be a photographer there taking photos of your embarkation. Even if you don't think you're going to buy the photo, just get the photo taken anyway. You don't have to pay for it taken. You can always decide later.
Or get your iPhone out and take a selfie in front of the thing like we do.
Yeah,
it's cheaper. So you'll get on, you'll get your card scanned, and then you'll head towards the food places usually, because the rooms won't be ready.
Exactly, but this does mean that the buffet can be absolutely chock-a-block, as most people will head there because you think you've been travelling all day, you're starving.
Yes.
So if you want to avoid the crowds, a top tip here is to avoid the buffet and go to other food outlets such as like pizza stations and things like that to grab food.
The pubs, which do food as well.
Exactly, the pubs. But don't think that the buffet is going to be like this all the time, because this can be especially if you've never done a cruise before, this can be like a oh my god experience.
What have I done?
What have I done? It's not going to be like this. It's just that the whole ship is in this one place at one time.
And nobody has a room, so it's like the place for lost people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing is to avoid the lifts right in the centre of the ship where you get on. So where you get on, you'll usually find a set of lifts. Would say completely avoid that. Either take the stairs or go forward or aft to a different pair of lifts and take them, because it's going to be so much quicker, because the queues for lifts can be so
exactly long. And this is where packing light comes in handy, because it means you can take the stairs without chucking all that.
And if you don't have any accessibility issues, it's good exercise, so we recommend taking the stairs to burn off some of those calories you're going to put on during the cruise.
So the first day is really exciting because it's a great time to explore the ship. This means that pretty much most of the areas of the ship will actually be open for you to have a look around. So this is like the spa, the kids clubs, restaurants, things like that. So it's a good opportunity if you want to have a nosy round before maybe booking a spa treatment. And it's also a great opportunity to book any treatments as well if you didn't do that in advance.
Yeah, it's a great time to look around the ship because it's usually really quiet. And as David says, you get access to some areas you don't normally do. So it's good to have a quick snoop at the kids clubs and things like that, just to see what's available for the kids. Book the kids into the kids clubs as well at that point, and yeah, just have a good old look around and get your bearings and see what areas of the ship that you like.
And even if you think that your kids are not going to enjoy the kids clubs, book them in anyway, because there's no obligation that they do have to turn up, but at least they're registered if they do change their mind at a later date.
Exactly. So next up is dining. If you have any problems with your dining or would like to change your time that you dine or the method of how you dine, like flexible dining or set time dining, the maitre d' is usually available in one of the restaurants. So go speak to them, and if you have any problems whatsoever or any questions, they can answer them for you on the first day.
And if you have any other issues, guest services will be open, but we do warn you that guest services will have a very, very long line. So if you think that it's not something urgent that doesn't need to be seen to straight away, go later in the evening, particularly when dining has started, and that's when guest services will get a little bit quieter.
Definitely, it's a little bit nuts because, as you can imagine, there's a couple of thousand people with a few niggling little problems and everybody turns up at the same time.
So the cabins are ready.
Woo!
There'll be a little announcement to make sure.
Howie, Dave!
Okay, so the cabins are ready now. Woohoo! There'll be an announcement to tell you that the cabins are ready, so make sure that you know your cabin. Okay, so there'll be an announcement now to say that the cabins are ready. Woo!
This is the fourth time we've done this.
A top tip is to make sure you know where your cabin is before they're actually ready. So you're not just like walking up and down the corridors trying to find your cabin.
It's going to happen anyway,
luggage.
Seriously. It's like a bloody maze for the first few days. You want to get your bearings on the day that you leave.
Yeah.
You still can never find your cabin.
So head straight to your cabin, and that is a great opportunity just to have a look around and get used to your cabin and see if everything's in working order. Yeah. And also introduce yourself to your cabin steward, who'll be kind of around maybe. Yeah. And also that's when you can put in any requests of anything that you want extra. So for example, if you want extra pillows or an extra blanket, it's a great opportunity to do it then.
And we like to bring our cabin steward a little treat or something from the country that we come from, just as a little thank you as well, because we know they work so hard.
Yeah, that's another top tip, is a lot of people like to tip their steward before they're sailing rather than after, because they think maybe it'll get them better service or the cabin steward will remember them. But also, like Ben said, take some chocolates or something, just as a little extra.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. So on the first day of your embarkation day, you will have a muster drill. This is a mandatory drill. It's just like a safety video on an aeroplane. Basically, you have to go to a specific location that will be on your card, your room key, and also it'll tell you in your room somewhere as well exactly where you need to go, just to listen to the safety procedures and ensure what you would need to do in an emergency. It's quite a fun little 20-minute event where you will go and listen to a few emergency procedures, and that's it really, isn't it?
Yeah, this is nothing to panic about. It'll be well signposted and there'll be people around helping you. Some cruise lines you have to take your life vests, which will be located in your room. Other cruise lines you don't have to take them, but they will tell you on board. But we say another top tip is don't arrive early because it's pretty pointless. Just go at the time that they do the announcement and do the drill. There's no need to arrive early because it'll just be a lot of waiting around otherwise.
Exactly.
So usually straight after the muster drill is where the ship will have a sail away party, and this is a time to grab a cocktail and celebrate.
Definitely, this is usually held on the open decks outside if the weather is good, but if the weather is a bit if the weather is a bit so the sail away party is usually held on the open decks by the pool area. If it is bad weather though, sometimes they'll hold it in a solarium or an atrium or something like that, but it'll all be very much signpost. We recommend you grab a cocktail, enjoy the music and the party and waving off the place where you've started. It's really cool.
Yeah, even if you don't go to the party, just get onto either a balcony or an open deck, because it is so much fun when you're actually pushing back and you're actually sailing away, aren't you?
And they let the horns off on the ship and it's really cool, isn't it? You're just sailing off into the sunset. It's so nice.
And our top tip here is just to take loads and loads of photos. This will be your last chance if you're sailing from a country where you can use your phone to make your friends jealous with them last minute Facebook statuses or Twitter statuses. So just send as many photos as you can and then enjoy
Make everybody jealous. That's what we like, yeah. Okay, so after the sail away party, you'd usually go back to your room, get ready for the first night, have your first meal wherever you've booked or wherever you want to go. And then we would recommend going to the welcome show. On the first night, there is usually sort of a welcome variety show in the main theatre where they'll sort of showcase what's coming up during your cruise.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to have a sneak peek at entertainment coming up in the cruise and also meet your entertainment crew as well.
Definitely. Okay, so that's it for this week. If you have any tips or anything that we haven't mentioned, please let us know in the comments below.
And you can also find us on social media where we're /Honest Cruising on all these channels right here.
So that's it for this week.
Until next time, happy cruising.
Ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome to another video. This week we're going to talk about...
What? No.
What? Ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome to another video. What?
Coming up. Coming out?
Ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome to another video.
Coming up, we have tips about your first date. Stop it. Is my hat on straight?
I don't know, you're not straight.
Ha 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 ha.